Hello everyone, welcome back to AniMonolith's summary series for that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Continuing the events of the previous part, after the formation of the Black Numbers, Remuru and his new demon subordinates, Diablo, Testarossa, Ultima, and Carrera, discussed their roles in Tempest's government. Currently, there were 3 key vacant positions in Tempest's administration, and Remuru wanted to appoint the 3 demonesses to fill them. Testarossa immediately volunteered for the role of military attaché, which would make her Tempest's representative in the Western Nations Council. She would also be responsible for leading Tempest's military forces when deployed abroad. Diablo enthusiastically supported her appointment, promising that Testarossa would always make decisions in Remuru's best interest. However, Remuru wasn't entirely convinced. Diablo's eager endorsement made him even more suspicious. To prove her capabilities, Testarossa recited Tempest's legal code from memory, and even pointed out several flaws. This finally convinced Remuru, and so Testarossa became Tempest's military attaché with the motto, "If anything happens, I will ensure all evidence of my involvement disappears." That's not exactly reassuring, but at least she was competent. The next position was the chief prosecutor position, who would investigate crimes and illegal activities in the kingdom and bring them to light. Ultima applied for the position and claimed that she was very good at detective work. She demonstrated her skills by effortlessly reciting key legal statutes like a scripted performance. The last position, the head of the court to make judgments, a chief justice of the Supreme Court, belonged to Carrera with the motto of giving fair sentences of death. As longtime ancient demons, all 3 were confident in their ability to handle negotiations and were immune to bribery. They would only listen to someone strong enough to defeat them in battle. Hearing this, Remuru felt slightly more at ease and hired them as temporary employees. In the following days, Ultima, Carrera, and Testarossa proved to be extremely capable in their roles. Their subordinates were also efficient and well organized, making their integration into Tempest's government seamless. Ultima was assigned to work under Rogerd, learning the ropes. She quickly bonded with him, affectionately calling him Uncle Rogerd. Meanwhile, Rogerd treated her like a daughter, completely unaware that she was one of the strongest demons in existence. Carrera was assigned to Rogerd to observe and assist. In the report, Ryuta mentioned her somewhat active behavior. However, Carrera was doing an excellent job of not giving in to violence and saying no to bribery. Next on the agenda was sending Tempest's trial legal code to the Western Nations Council. This task was assigned to Testarossa, who was handling diplomatic relations. When Remuru visited her office, she gracefully served him black tea. This shocked Diablo, who exclaimed, "Testarossa, I never thought you'd personally serve tea to anyone." Testarossa smirked and replied, "Of course, Rimuru-sama is special. And no, Diablo, you don't get any tea." He wouldn't mind such mischief as long as Testarossa considered him her commander. Seeing that, Remuru wondered whether these 2 were close or hated each other. Returning to the topic of the Western Council, Testarossa said that about half of the Western countries were welcoming Tempest right now. Only of them were sincere in their desire to make friends, while others wanted to use Tempest for their own purposes. Remuru expressed doubts about the accuracy of the information, and Testarossa answered that this was information gathered by Moss. Moss and Veyron are 2 of Testarossa's loyal subordinates. Unlike Veyron, who resembled an elderly gentleman, Moss looked like a young elementary school boy. Despite being an immensely powerful demon lord, Moss has the ability to create many small clones to go to different locations to collect intelligence. In addition, he can also selectively eavesdrop on conversations. With that, Remuru gradually believes that the intelligence Moss collects is completely legal and has a high accuracy rate. Knowing that useful ability, Remuru also wanted to introduce Moss to Sue and praised him in front of Testarossa, who was also extremely thirsty for Rimuru-sama's praise, making Moss sweat nervously as if his life depended on it. With the information he had, Remuru decided to let Testarossa handle this whole thing. Remuru also rejected Testarossa's proposal to destroy all the other countries. everything had to be done peacefully with as few casualties as possible. And so Testarossa headed to the council with the promise that she would at least not do anything that would make the world condemn Tempest. While ensuring everything was in order, Remuru decided to visit the newly constructed school, where the 5 children he had brought from Ingrassia were studying. With the growing number of immigrants in Tempest, the school now accommodated various races, making it easier for the children to integrate into society. Remuru had also hired teachers and ensured they were paid monthly salaries. The principal was a goblin chieftain, while the rest of the teaching staff consisted of humans, including former adventurers and merchants arranged by Muir Miles. Additionally, the Holy Knights took turns serving as guest lecturers, and Hinata occasionally visited to train and mentor the children. With all these arrangements in place, Remuru no longer had to worry about their education. As soon as Remuru arrived, Khloe excitedly ran up and clung to him, expressing her joy at his visit. However, what surprised him the most was seeing Kumara among the students. He had assumed she was still in the labyrinth, but it turned out she had been attending school alongside the other children and had even made friends. As the students became lively upon noticing Rimuru's presence, the atmosphere suddenly shifted when Hinata appeared. Her usual cold and intimidating demeanor instantly silenced the classroom. Soon after, Remuru, Hinata, Kumara, and the 5 children made their way to the labyrinth, where Hakuryu was already waiting. Over the past few months, Hinata and Hakuryu had taken charge of the children's training. Today, Hinata wanted Remuru to witness their progress firsthand. The labyrinth served as the perfect training ground, as there was no need to fear death within its confines. When she explained this, her face turned eerily intense. To evaluate their growth, Remuru created a clone of himself and used it to engage in one-on-one duels with each child. After an hour of fighting, Remuru emerged victorious. However, he was genuinely impressed by how much the children had improved, especially Kumara and Khloe. Kumara had grown incredibly strong, to the point where Remuru believed she could defeat Fritz, one of the 10 great saints. Her 8 tails each summoned a powerful beast, all of which were stronger than Ranga. These creatures could share their combat experience and coordinate their attacks seamlessly, making them formidable opponents. Meanwhile, Khloe was the only one who forced Remuru to fight seriously. Her speed far surpassed Kenya's, and unlike the others, she posed a real threat. Even Hinata and Hakuryu, both masters of swordsmanship, admitted that they had to go all out when sparring with her. This revelation left Remuru in shock, as he had never expected Khloe to be this powerful. Khloe's swordsmanship closely resembled Hinata's, with elegant yet efficient movements. Both Hinata and Hakuryu acknowledged her exceptional talent and dedication. Her progress was astounding, especially considering her young age, and it was clear that she had the potential to become an extraordinary swordswoman in the future. However, Hinata's visit wasn't solely about observing the children's growth. She had 2 primary reasons for coming. First, she wanted Remuru to understand the children's current strength, so he could continue guiding them down the right path as they matured. The second reason for Hinata's visit was to remind Remuru about his promise to Luminous regarding the music exchange event. During the founding festival, Remuru had agreed to organize a concert, and now Luminous was eagerly anticipating it. Hinata emphasized that the Queen of Nightmares was looking forward to it. And so, a few days later, Remuru, the 5 children, Kumara, and the Tempest band arrived in Lubellius. During this trip, Remuru brought along his 2 secretaries, Shion and Diablo. Veldora also wanted to come along, but was refused on the grounds that there was still much to do in the labyrinth. Remuru understood that it was too dangerous for he to meet Luminous. Raphael also confirmed that there would be 100% an accident if Veldora came along. Upon their arrival in Lubellius, Hinata personally acted as their guide, leading them through the city. The children were fascinated by the grand and unfamiliar sights, their excitement evident as they took in the surroundings. In contrast, Takt and the band members were visibly nervous, overwhelmed by the foreign environment. According to the schedule, the first night would be dedicated to a grand banquet, welcoming the delegation from Tempest. The next day, the musicians would familiarize themselves with Lubellius's sound system, followed by a rehearsal on the second day. The main concert would take place over the next 3 days, concluding with a magnificent celebratory feast. The over 100 members of the Tempest band were astonished at the luxurious treatment they received. They were housed in private rooms akin to those of nobles, each with personal attendants on standby. The banquet itself was extravagant, featuring gourmet dishes served in small portions but bursting with flavor. The children, initially skeptical about the portion sizes, soon found themselves completely stuffed. Later that night, after everyone had gone to sleep, Remuru received a quiet knock on his door. A maid, acting as an attendant of Luminous, extended an invitation from her mistress. Accompanied by Shion and Diablo, Remuru accepted and followed her to an opulent chamber where Luminous, Louis, and her butler Gunther were waiting. Hinata, however, was absent. Curious, Remuru inquired about her, only to learn that she had already gone to bed. Even though she had evolved into a saint with a body structure that was almost like a spiritual life form and didn't need to sleep, Hinata still hadn't adapted to it, and still maintained her human habits, sleep being one of them. With the small talk out of the way, Remuru turned his attention to the real reason for the meeting. Luminous revealed her concerns regarding Granbell, a former hero who had been scheming behind the scenes. She suspected that he might attempt something during the upcoming concert, and requested Remuru's help in defending Lubellius. Diablo, unimpressed, regarded the matter as a trivial nuisance, casually suggesting that they simply eliminate any enemies who dared to appear. However, Remuru found Luminous's request somewhat problematic. Since Lubellius was not under his jurisdiction, he believed that the responsibility should naturally fall to Hinata and the nation's own forces. Luminous acknowledged that Lubellius had spent years strengthening its defenses, originally to prepare for a potential attack from Veldora. She was confident in the city's ability to withstand a large-scale assault. However, Granbell was an insider who had worked within Lubellius for a long time, meaning he likely knew of hidden weaknesses or secret passages that even Luminous was unaware of. That made him a significant threat. Luminous's butler Gunther also revealed that Granbell was a hero and fought with his master in the past. Hearing this, Diablo interjected and said that Luminous was bothering Remuru with trivial tasks, of course in an unfriendly manner. His words instantly created a tense atmosphere as Louis and Gunther frowned at his rudeness. Yet, before the tension could escalate, Luminous simply laughed. She found it amusing that Remuru had somehow tamed the Black Primordial into such an obedient pet. To prevent further conflict, Remuru immediately reprimanded Diablo for his disrespectful behavior. However, Luminous was not one to take offense so easily. She acknowledged that Diablo had a valid reason to be dissatisfied with her request for assistance, but she also insisted that there was an important reason behind it. In fact, even though Hinata had evolved into a saint, she was still in the early stages of adapting to her newfound power. A newly ascended saint could not yet rival an experienced saint, and in this case, Granbell was not only an experienced saint, but also a bearer of the hero's egg. As for the heroes, the concept of a hero was deeply intertwined with that of a demon lord, as fate often led them to clash, betray, or even form alliances. However, just like the demon lord, awakening as a hero was extremely difficult. Some individuals, like Granbell, who had only acquired the hero's egg or self-proclaimed heroes, were often regarded as legitimate despite not yet reaching their full potential. Luminous suspected that Granbell had made some kind of arrangement with Yuki Kagurazaka, and that their target was something valuable hidden within Lubellius. Given that Hinata was not yet strong enough to face Granbell in direct combat, Lumina sought Remuru's assistance in defending the nation during the 3 days of the concert. Hearing this, Remuru quickly realized the significance of the timing. With him away from Tempest, this could be the perfect opportunity for Granbell and Yuki to strike. Their potential goal was not just the object hidden in Lubellius, but also a chance to settle old scores with Remuru. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Remuru agreed to Luminous's request, ensuring Lubellius' safety for the next 3 days. Despite the looming threat, Luminous displayed a remarkable level of composure. Even though she recognized Granbell as a dangerous opponent, she remained focused on enjoying the concert. Remuru found her unwavering confidence both impressive and something to learn from. With that, the stage was set for the impending battle against Granbell. In the next video, we will delve deeper into Granbell's background and witness the battle unfold. Stay tuned.